Hey guys, this is Eckhart's Ladder. Hello and welcome to another Star Wars Galactic Versus episode. It's actually been a while since I've done a full Galactic Versus episode, and this is a matchup that I've wanted to do for quite a while, so I'm super excited about today's video. You guys also seemed pretty excited too, because when I put this idea to the Discord, the community overwhelmingly voted in favor of it, so today should be a fun day. So what exactly are we looking at, you may be wondering? Well, one of my favorite animated movies of all time, The Iron Giant. Now, although this movie has gained some fame in recent years, I think that it's criminally underrated, so if you haven't seen it already, maybe don't watch this video and come back after you have, because it would be a shame if I spoiled it. Anyway, we're taking the eponymous Iron Giant and putting it against the Empire's forces at the Battle of Hoth. Specifically, we're imagining a scenario where the Rebel Alliance, instead of having their traditional defenses, has one Iron Giant, and we're trying to predict whether it could stave off Imperial forces. So in doing this video, we're going to first take a look at the Battle of Hoth, the forces that the Empire had, their general strategy, what they needed to do to secure a victory. Then we're going to take a look at the Iron Giant, including its feats, its just general strength, and then we're going to take both of these, put them together, and do the actual prediction. I only have a couple of rules for this scenario. The first is that the Empire wins by destroying all of the Rebel forces on the planet. That's not including the Iron Giant himself, but the Empire has to destroy Echo Base and has to get rid of any Rebel survivors. My second rule is that the Iron Giant in this case is fully militant, but he's aggressive only towards Imperial forces. That's important because if you watch the movie, the Iron Giant for most of it is very passive, he's very peaceful, and he doesn't like to kill. So let's first talk about the Battle of Hoth, which was one of the greatest victories for the Empire during the Galactic Civil War. The primary force for the Empire here was Death Squadron. This was comprised of one Executor-class Super Star Destroyer and around 8 to 10 smaller Star Destroyers, including Imperial 1s, Imperial 2s, and Victory-class Star Destroyers. This is really an overwhelming space superiority force. However, thankfully for the Rebel Alliance in both the real scenario and this one, Hoth was protected by a very strong planetary shield. The presence and actual effect of the shield generator is a detail missed on a lot of people, but this is why the Empire didn't simply bombard the planet from atmosphere. Instead, they had to land a large ground force, then try to take out the shield generator, and then they could basically operate with free reign. Even in the movie itself, it says, "My lord, the fleet has moved out of light speed. Comscan has detected an energy field protecting an area of the 6th planet of the Hoth system. The field is strong enough to deflect any bombardment." Really, in Star Wars, especially in the Star Wars Expanded Universe, this was very common. Planets often had very strong planetary shields, protecting them from orbital bombardment. In the Thrawn trilogy, Admiral Thrawn himself said that taking a planet by conventional means is very, very difficult. You either have to land troops and take out the shield generator, or land huge armies of millions of troops to try to basically dominate the planet and move your larger forces in. In the Battle of Hoth, the Empire went with the former, landing what in Star Wars Legends was called Blizzard Force. The focal point of Blizzard Force was the AT-AT squadron known as the Thundering Herd. Including Thundering Herd, Blizzard Force was comprised of, in total, 9 AT-ATs, several HAV-WA5 juggernauts, and then several smaller walkers including AT-STs and AT-PTs. In this case, the AT-ATs are clearly the most important asset to the Empire during the invasion. A single AT-AT is over 20 meters tall, it's nearly impervious to traditional blaster fire, and is very well armed. What's more is that while a single walker does have some serious disadvantages, including a lack of maneuverability, no protection near the undercarriage, and a few exposed weak spots, when you get 9 AT-ATs working together in a single formation, along with several support vehicles, you have a really dangerous force. And really, these AT-ATs alone were enough to overwhelm the entirety of the Alliance forces on the planet. Defense-wise, as I said, an AT-AT is very strong. Traditional weaponry will do almost nothing to it, and the Rebels had to resort to using the tow cables. The walkers are also fairly well armed. They have 2 lighter laser cannons on the sides of their head, and then 2 heavy laser cannons at what you'd kind of call the jaw. The heavy weapons in particular aren't the fastest firing weapons, they're not the easiest to aim or move, but they are extremely powerful. We see that a single volley, when fired at the shield reactor at maximum power, destroys it instantly, causing a gigantic explosion. With 9 of these walkers and also the medium cannons and the support craft, we're talking about a whole lot of damage here. Should the Empire manage to take down the shield generator on the ground, they will also have access to all of their naval assets, and I mean, a single Executor-class Super Star Destroyer can do serious damage to a planet. When you include that ship, as well as the various Star Destroyers that it has in support, the rebels are going to have a pretty bad time on the ground should the shield fall. So I think we have a good idea now of the mission of Hoth, the Empire's forces, and what they hope to accomplish. Well, what's standing between them and victory? In this case, it's the Iron Giant. The Iron Giant is a 50-foot tall sentient machine. The Iron Giant's origin and its motivations are unclear, especially because it sustains a blow to its head, which seems to change its personality quite drastically. However, in a dream sequence that was cut from the original movie, we see that the Iron Giant is actually only one of many of his type, likely created to destroy planets or wage war for an unknown species. The Iron Giant's physical characteristics would support this hypothesis. Not only is he immensely large, but he's also very, very powerful. The Giant has two modes. He's got his ordinary mode, where he looks like the Iron Giant that we see for most of the movie, and then we have his war mode, which we only see when he becomes angry after Hogarth's apparent death. We're going to assume that for most of this battle, he will be in his weaponized mode. In this mode, he's basically walking destruction. His first weapon is an arm cannon. We see that this weapon can fire quite quickly and can easily destroy a 1950s era US military tank. However, that's only one of his weapons and is arguably the most mundane. On his other arm, he has some sort of energy launcher. This disintegrates another tank on impact. He also has a triple tail type of weapon that comes out of his back and which seems to fire War of the Worlds-esque beams of energy. Along with that, he also has a quick firing gun and, perhaps most impressively and certainly his most devastating weapon, a chest-mounted energy cannon. This creates a huge explosion which, if fired accurately, would have been enough to take out several battleships firing at range. I will say, at certain points after he goes berserk, the Iron Giant does not appear to be particularly accurate when using these weapons. He chases the humans down, kind of lumbering along, but he doesn't really hit them with a whole lot of precision. He does still take a lot of them out, especially at the very beginning and later on, but yeah, I question his accuracy at points. Let's now talk about the robot's durability. We know that he's very powerful, however, he's also very strong and very durable. We've never actually seen something that destroys the Iron Giant. However, he has been broken, although only temporarily. We see most notably at the end of the movie that after he's hit by the nuclear bomb, he explodes into many pieces. However, the very end of the film reveals that even this he is able to recover from. On another occasion, he also loses some of his parts after being hit by a train, but again, he recovers from this without too much difficulty. I think it's clear that the Empire won't be able to kill the Iron Giant by conventional means, at least on the ground, but can they take him down for long enough to do serious damage to the shield generator? That's the question I'm going to be dealing with in a minute. I hypothesize that he is able to take a different amount of damage depending on whether he's in his regular mode or his war mode. He is able to fly, and before fully weaponized, he's knocked out of the sky by a pair of 1950s era fighter jets. However, once fully weaponized, he's hit by an artillery barrage from ships out in the sea and isn't even really damaged. He just kind of gets tickled on the back and turns around. The robot doesn't even seem to notice anything smaller than the ship-based artillery. Certainly small arms fire isn't going to do anything, and even tank shells don't seem to scratch him. With that said, let's now take a look at the battle. The question here is really whether the Empire can, despite the efforts of the Iron Giant, manage to destroy the rebel shield generator. If they are able to take down the planetary shield, I think the fleet in orbit should be able to, relatively quickly, waste anything on the planet. I mean, the Iron Giant is well armed, but I don't think he's well armed enough to actually take down a Star Destroyer. Certainly not 10 of them, and a Super Star Destroyer. So, this comes down to Blizzard Force. Can the Iron Giant stop them? The Empire has one advantage here. They have sheer numbers. All they need is one squadron of stormtroopers armed with a bomb, or one AT-AT, to get past the Iron Giant. I think this one is going to be close. The Iron Giant has very powerful weapons. I think that chest-based cannon could easily take out half of the Empire's forces, or even more depending on how closely they're situated. I do think the smaller weapons like the arm cannon and certainly the rapid fire cannon won't be powerful enough to take out a single walker with one shot, but that other energy-based disintegrating arm weapon should. Still, the Giant is facing an overwhelming amount of forces. He's shown in the movie to be able to identify threats very quickly, and he's got advanced sensors in his eyes, but I don't know if he'll be able to deal with that many high-powered walkers at once. That being said, in The Empire Strikes Back, we do see that the rebels did actually have some time to stop the Empire. They just weren't able to. Like, the AT-ATs didn't land immediately and then fire on the base. Rather, they had to walk for a bit, they had to deal with some rebel forces, and then only when close enough and when the generator was in range were they able to take it out. That does bode fairly well for the Giant. It means he has some time. However, while I don't think the Empire will be able to destroy him for good, I think they will be able to seriously damage him. I'm not saying that a single AT-AT has enough energy or its weapons are powerful enough to rival an atomic bomb, but when you've got 9 of them together, firing at one target, I think that they're going to be able to at least incapacitate the Giant for a while. But a lot of this comes down to who gets the first strike, and I'm going to have to give it to the Empire here. They have more logistic support, like they have speeders and they have individual troopers. They also have probe droids and things like ATSTs. So I think that they should be able to anticipate the Giant's movements and attack it in such a way that they'll be able to survive his weapons. They're definitely going to lose some of their forces. The Iron Giant's weapons are very powerful, but when you've got 9 AT-ATs, you've got a lot of firepower, and I think, as I mentioned, they should be able to at least temporarily incapacitate the Giant. I think any good Imperial military commander would probably set aside 2 walkers to try to find some way away from the Giant towards the shield generator. The rest of the walkers would try to take on the Giant, and then once it's incapacitated, I'd probably set 5 or 6 just to keep shooting at the body so it can't regenerate. That does assume some level of knowledge and familiarity with the Giant's capabilities on the Imperial side, which, to make things fair, they wouldn't have, but I think once they see it reconstructing itself and regenerating, they'll clue in relatively quickly. I think then either the remaining surviving forces which encountered the Giant, or the 2 AT-ATs which went out on their own, or perhaps a squadron of stormtroopers or saboteurs or someone else, will be able to take down the shield generator. With the shield generator down, the Empire will be able to bombard the planet from orbit, and at that point, the Alliance really has no chance. Alternatively, the ground forces could try to assault Echo Base directly, but I think that would be a lot less successful. I think their best strategy is to take down the generator and then let their fleet do all the work. One thing I haven't really mentioned is that the Iron Giant can fly, and perhaps that could change things around a little bit. But I will say he was shown to be taken out fairly easily while in flight mode, and I also get the feeling that when he's fully agitated and in his battle mode, he probably doesn't really fly. He seems like more of a lumbering beast, and when fighting the ground forces in the movie, he kind of just picks a direction, starts walking, and starts shooting, which I think fits his 50s monster movie aesthetic quite well. So yeah, I'm gonna give this battle to the Empire. I think that they probably win 8 times out of 10. The only real chance the Giant has is if you can somehow get all of the Empire's troops while they're together and hit them with one of the large nuclear bomb-sized chest beams. That's possible, but I think more likely the Empire scouts out the situation, approaches it tactically, and manages to take down the Giant for long enough to destroy the shield generator. That, however, is just my opinion. Take a second right now, vote in the upper right hand corner, and let me know which side you think would win this battle. Can the Giant successfully protect Hoth from the forces of the Empire? Let me know that and anything else also down in the comments section. Did you like this video? Do you like me bringing in kind of weirder out there characters like the Iron Giant, or would you prefer if I stayed to Halo, Star Wars, and other mainstream science fiction factions? Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, may the Force be with you.